Greetings everyone, my name is Aira Rebuyon and today I will be presenting a video about the explanations on the following questions attached on the clip essay. Question number 1. Contrast the responsibilities of operation management, middle management, and top management. Explain the different information needs for each level of management. So operations management is directly responsible for the day-to-day operations. Detailed reporting on specific purchases, the shipping of goods, the use of manpower and materials in manufacturing process, and internal transfers of resources from one department to another is provided by the operations managers. Information and guidance for budgeting filter down from the top and middle management to operations management, while the short-term preparations and scheduling of tasks required to meet corporate goals were carried out by the middle managers. Instead of routine activities, the middle management needs knowledge that is more summarized and geared towards reporting on general results and concerns. And lastly, the longer-term planning and setting corporate priorities or the upper management is accountable. It is strongly summarized knowledge supplied to the top management. Question number 2. Explain the difference between the data and the information. So data, this is a raw and organized facts that need to be processed. Data can be something simple and seemingly random and useless until it is organized. These are also facts that can be or may not be processed, edited, summarized, or refined that do not have a clear bearing on the actions of a consumer. While on the other hand, information is when data is processed, organized, structured, or presented in a given context so as to make it useful. It allows the user to take action that she or he may not or would not have done otherwise. Data is measured by the effects it has on consumers. Question number 3. Why do accountants need to understand the organizational structure of a business? Auditors need an understanding on the organizational structure of the business because it reflects the distribution of responsibility, authority, accountability throughout the organization. Auditors need to know how the organization functions to properly audit it. Question number 4. Several disadvantages of the distributed data processing have been discussed. Discuss as at least 3. So the 3 are the following. First, distributing information resource management will lead to corporate resources being mismanaged. Second, distribution of obligation can result in repetitive activities being done by multiple users. And lastly, distribution of decision-making can result in the lack of standards. The 5th question. Name and explain the purpose of the 3 major subsystems of the accounting information system. So, the 3 are the following. First is the Transaction Processing System or TPS. This records the company's financial activities. Second is the General Ledger and Financial Reporting System, which generates the financial reporting required by law. And lastly, the Management Reporting System or the MRS, which provides data for decision-making to internal management. The 6th question. What are the 3 primary functions performed by the transaction processing system? So the 3 are the following. First, the conversion of economic activities into financial transactions, recording financial transactions in the accounting records, just like journals or ledgers. And third, the distribution to operations staff of critical financial information to sustain everyday's operations. The 7th question. The most commonly stated benefits of the DDP or cost savings increase user satisfaction and the improved operational efficiency. So I need to explain this. So in the period after early automation, the costs of both computing and data storage has or have been decreased dramatically. Furthermore, it is possible to spread data entry and decrease application complexity. Users are usually happier when the tools that impact their profitability can be managed. Users will want individuals with systems that can adapt to their needs and include them in designing and introducing their own system. So cost management delegations of individual units leads to a more effective utilization of the capital of the unit. And so the eighth question is this: data redundancy is described as a problem in flatline systems due to data storage, updating, and the currency issues. So here's the explanation. Data save 10 separate times uses up to 10 times the data storage capacity once stored. And if data is stored in several files, anytime a transition happens, each file must be changed. So in a flatline environment, if the problem of changes is mismanaged, certain data can be untouched, thereby being non-current and contributing to the incorrect decisions. The ninth question: explain the elements of the REA or the resources, events, and agents model and give an example of each. So first is the economic resources. These are the organization's reserves. These are the artifacts that are rare and under the organization's influence. They may not have receivable accounts, and inventory is an example of this. Second is the economic events. These are acts that impact the capital and change, and a selling customer is an example. And lastly, the individuals and business units that engage in economic activities are the economic agents, and a sales clerk is an example of this. The 10th question: distinguish between the accounting information system and the management information system. So the AIS, or the accounting information system, processes the financial transactions. Example of this are cash receipts, and non-financial transactions. Example of this are the attachment to the unauthorized provider list that have a significant effect on the processing of the financial transactions. So the three primary subsystems performs are the following: transaction process, the general ledger or the financial statements, and the management reporting. On the other hand, the management information system processes additional non-financial transactions that contribute to the decision-making of the managers. And so the 11th question is this: why have re-engineering efforts been made to integrate AIS and MIS? So usually, administrators from both fields need input from both AIS and MIS. So if the data used for decision-making processes by managers is stored in 2 or more data sets, report preparation is both redundant and costly. In addition, a lack of information between the two sets of data will lead to information that is not accurate and inconsistent. Question number 12. Why is it important to organizationally separate the accounting function from the other functions of the organization? So the accounting function offers record-keeping activities for all the departments, budgets, and day-to-day activities, which influences the organization's financial status. Tasks for record-keeping must be kept separate from any region which has an asset custody. So the accounting role must also remain autonomous so that the security of the properties of the business is carried out in the atmosphere of minimal fraud possibilities. Question number 13. The REA model is based on the premise that business data must not be pre-formatted or artificially constrained and must reflect all relevant aspects of the underlying economic events. What does this mean and how is it applied? So the REA model involves the characterizations of accounting phenomena in a matter of compatible with the creation of multiple user views, not just those accounting functions. As such, rather than accounting objects such as the journals, the chart of accounts, the double entry accounting, the REA systems and records are organized around events. So business companies file financial statements directly from the case database under the REA model. So question number 14, the ERP systems are comprised of a highly integrated sets of the standardized modules. So discuss the advantages and the potential disadvantages of this approach. So first, the advantages. The ERP or the Enterprise Resource Planning System enable enterprise to simplify core business processes and integrate them. Second, by enabling data exchange, the ERPs knock down conventional technical barriers. Third, ERP tech embodies and encourages a specific industry's best corporate practices, thereby facilitating a positive improvements in a way the business do their business. And lastly, by employing a common corporate practices among all organization divisions, companies experience internal efficiencies. And for its disadvantages, first, implementing an ERP scheme can be a major project that can take many years to achieve. Second, few organizations are eager or able to devote the requisite financial capital due to their scope and consumer goods intended to address the market issues that are standard. And most businesses have the complex needs that require personalized systems. And so for the disadvantages, implementing an ERP scheme can be a major project that can take many years to achieve. Second, the few organizations are eager or able to devote the requisite financial capital due to their scope and scale and are at risk of creating an in-house ERP scheme. So therefore, practically, all ERPs are consumer goods intended to address market issues that are standardized. So most businesses have complex needs that require personal systems. And third, organizations that adopt an ERP also need to change their business process, particularly the industry-specific activities, to suit unique business function, and sometimes referred to as bolt-ons. This software are not always configured to connect with the ERP packages. And lastly, the ERP packages are enormously expensive or it is costly. Organization management should exercise great care in deciding which, if any, the ERP is the best for them. And the last question, distinguish between the centralized and distributed approaches to organizing the computer services function. In a centralized data processing approach, the computer services function is geographically placed. The databases are located in one location where one or more primary computers perform all data processing. For the whole enterprise, all systems, implementation, and management activity is done by specific professionals. And end users wishing to have new programs or features must apply to this group, in which a specific requests are given and are typically prioritized and are placed in queue. While on the other hand, in a distributed data processing approach, the CPUs are distributed and there is power over data analysis at the level of the information processing unit or the IPU. End users therefore have a larger control on systems implementation programs, which are usually managed at the IPU level by the system practitioners. And so that comprises my video presentation, and I hope that you have learned something. Thank you.